Charleston Blessing Box supports over 150 anonymous food donation sites across the Low Country. Today, I talked with the director of the Charleston Blessing Box, Katie Dalheim, for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Katie Dalheim, welcome back to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you so much. It's great to see you.
Oh, likewise. Obviously, you are one of the leaders behind the Charleston Blessing Box.
Yes, indeed.
And I know that the Charleston Blessing Box supports a network of more than 150 anonymous food donation sites throughout the Low Country. Let me ask you this, Katie, and I've never asked you this on Quintin's Close-Ups, but what separates the Blessing Box from a typical food pantry?
Yeah, that's a great question. So with typical food pantries, they have hours of operation that they're open. So they're not 24/7, which we are available 24/7. All of our locations, except we have two that are inside. So the one that's at the Habitat for Humanity store downtown Charleston, and the one that's in Laundry Matters on the east side. Those are indoor, inside the building, but all of the other locations are outside. And so anytime, day or night, that you want to come drop something off or come take something, you can do that. And so that's different than a traditional food pantry.
And I know, obviously, there's a lot of needs right now. Let me ask you this, too. Why is the Blessing Box a simple way to solve really a temporary need?
Yeah, I think that the Blessing Box has been successful because it's very simple and it's easy to use both as someone who's donating and somebody who's coming to receive food, because you don't have to keep track. You don't have to really plan ahead. You don't have to tell anybody or make any arrangements. You can go to the grocery store, you can buy some extra things, keep them in your car or in your bag until you happen to have time to drop them off. And then likewise with picking things up from the Blessing Box, you don't have to prove any kind of need. If you want to take it, you take it. We aren't going to ask any questions. There's no paperwork, and you don't have to be of a certain income level. And I think that's another difference from a traditional food pantry, but also one of the reasons why it works so well is because it's very simple. Leave what you can, take what you need. That's it. There's no other caveats.
And you talk about tracking. Obviously, I know people ask you all the time for data on the Blessing Boxes, but you says, hey, there's no data because everything is done anonymously.
Right.
Let me ask you this too. How many people do you think have you all fed over the year?
So I did some math, and please don't ask me to do it again in my head right now, Quintin, but we assumed that if each box fed, I think it was one person a week, then somewhere around 40,000 people was the total of number of people that would be taking things from the boxes in a year. So that would be one times 52 times 150, somewhere around 40,000, which is, I don't know that that's the number, but that's my best way to sort of guess.
And since the coronavirus outbreak, has that number tripled?
So since the virus started really in earnest here in March, we've added, I think, 35 or 40 new locations. And those have not been all just in the Charleston area. Those are all over the Low Country. So down in Hilton Head, several in sort of inland, like Cordsville, different areas of Berkeley County, several more rural areas, which I think is great. And so I think our number of additional boxes since March, I think, is somewhere between 35 and 40. And it's really taken off in different church groups, different scouting groups, things where people are looking to have a way that is not person-to-person contact, but still be helpful. And I think that the Blessing Boxes are a great way for folks to be able to know that they're helping, but also not really expose themselves to any extra contact with people.
And how many of those Blessing Boxes are currently filled?
I have no idea. I hope all of them, but we definitely at the beginning of the month see an uptick in donations, and then at the end of the month we see sort of a tapering off. And I think that that's the most important time to donate, because a lot of people are living either paycheck to paycheck, or right now a lot of people are living on unemployment benefits, and so everyone is stretched thin, and especially at the end of the month, we see a lot of empty locations. And so we try to really encourage people to donate all the time, but particularly right at the end of the month.
And which blessing box that is needs the most refilling right now?
So we received some monetary donations yesterday. So I did some Publix Instacart orders, which are a fabulous tool for us. And so yesterday we were able to do orders for Goose Creek, Somerville, North Charleston, and I think Ladson. So those are the 4 that will be picking up their grocery orders or getting them delivered today. And that's just a small, I mean, we have 150 of them now, so it's hard, and I have no idea, there's no way to keep track, but definitely the ones that are sort of the oldest, like the ones that have been there the longest, more people I think know about them, so they're used more frequently. There's one on Sam Rittenberg that is at Grace United Methodist, and it empties and fills several times a day because it's very visible, and people are driving by all the time, walking by, and so ones like that definitely have had an uptick.
Wow, that's amazing. And what are the popular items that you see or hear about?
Yeah, so right now school supplies would be a great thing to donate because the kids are going back to school one way or another, and nobody really knows what that's going to look like, but they are going to, regardless of how that happens, the kids are going to need notebooks and pencils and all the other normal back to school items. So that's one thing. And then other than that, we all the time love to see non-perishable food items, all kinds of canned goods, dry goods. We discourage people from donating clothes because the boxes are not big enough for clothing donations. They're not really meant for that. So all kinds of non-perishable foods, toiletry items are great, school supplies. Pet food is also, a lot of people, will feed their pets before they feed themselves, and, when they're on real hard times. And so dog food, cat food, things of that nature. And then also baby formula and diapers.
Yes, indeed. And I know, obviously, you discourage people from obviously bringing in items such as clothes, but where exactly do you store donated items that can't fit in those boxes?
So everything needs to fit in the box because we've had some complaints lately of folks that have brought garbage bags full of food, which is great, and then left them sort of on the ground near the box. And we really discourage people from doing that because neighbors don't like it. It causes animals to be attracted to the box and bugs and things of that nature that we are hoping to not have inside the box with the food. So if it doesn't fit in the box, we ask people to not leave things outside. So if somebody wanted to donate and there was just not room in the box, that would be a wonderful problem to have. And so the easiest thing for them to do would be either come back tomorrow, because I'm sure that someone will empty it today, or we have a map on all of our websites and our social media that shows where they all are. And right now, because there are so many, there often is another location that would be within 5 miles of where you are, where the box is full.
And I know that obviously we just ended July. How big has the food insecurity become here in the Low Country?
It's interesting because I think that in 2020, everybody has experienced some form of food insecurity. Even if you had, the money in your pocket to go buy groceries, there have been times, and some people may still feel this way, where either you were afraid to go to the grocery store because you just didn't want to have any social interaction or physical interaction, or the grocery store didn't have food or toilet paper or whatever it is the item was that you were looking for. And so I think that helped bring some empathy around the idea of food insecurity, because there are a lot of people that maybe had never felt that before that in 2020 have experienced that. And I think that that's a big deal. I think it's important for people to experience that and understand what it feels like to not be able to access the things that you need.
And how do you actually close the food insecurity gap in the middle of a health outbreak?
That is the $1 million question, I think. We are trying to take it day by day. We're trying to do the good that we can in our little corner of the world. And we've had so many people that have helped us to spread the mission, spread the word about what we're doing, that have stepped into, like I said, build more boxes. We just added a ton of them this year. And we also have a lot of people who are very consistent in their donations, or also are organizing food drives, like in their neighborhoods, in their church, with their book club, with their scout group. We've had a really great coming together of community members, and I think that that's how it has to work. I think that's how you have to build changes from a very small micro level on up.
And besides the 150, what exactly is the goal that you all want to reach as far as bringing more boxes into the neighborhood by the end of this year?
You know, Quintin, this is my third close-ups interview, so I knew that this question was coming, and I've been thinking about it. You always say, well, where do you go from here? And I have yet to have a great answer for you. I mean, I think that we're just going to keep doing what we've been doing. I think that it's working. I think it makes a difference. We also have had, you know, in the past, we could do volunteer events. We could do free laundry days, and we've done those. And other sort of events where people could physically come out and be together, and we're not able to do most of that right now. We did do a blood drive earlier this week with our friends at T-Mobile. That was great. We hope to, in the Blood Connection, we hope to do more of that. And we're doing a book drive right now, so there's a link for an Amazon wish list for our friends that run the Pink House, which is in West Ashley. Yes, love her.
Yes.
So we're doing a book drive and a school supply drive for the kids over there, and our hope is to donate 100 books in August. I think we're around 25 right now, and also school supplies to help them, because they have really been a haven for the kids over in the Ardmore neighborhood in West Ashley. They do incredible work every day, and they also have a blessing box. They have a traditional blessing box at the Pink House, and then they also have a refrigerator, which is our only refrigerator, and they do a great job of making sure that it is stocked and organized and cleaned. And so they support us, and so we want to do everything that we can to support them. So I think that right now, my best answer to your difficult question is that we're going to keep working with our community partners that we've been working with, and try to help them in any way that we can, and then just keep encouraging people to donate food into the boxes.
And I know that the blessing box is a small scale approach to the big issue of food insecurity. What is the other bigger issue right now?
Yeah, so take your pick. There's so many things that are happening in our world, in our city, and you know, it becomes overwhelming if you really think about it on a big scale. And so I'm trying to keep it to this approach where we are supporting anonymous giving. We're asking, you know, people, if you can leave something, please do. If you need to take something, please do. Some people might be in a position where they're doing both of those things. You know, they might have extra canned goods, but they might need baby formula. And so they might be donating and taking in the same trip. Or, you know, the folks that are donating today might be the people that are taking food out of the boxes to help their family tomorrow. And I think that that's very important for us all to keep in mind, is that we're all in this together. We're all in sort of different boats, but the same storm. And I really love that there has been so much support over the years. We've been doing it now for 3 years. And so because we were able to build that network and we had the core sort of plan in place before the pandemic hit, I really do feel like we were ready for this craziness that has been 2020, to be able to serve the community in essentially in this hands-off way, which is something that I think everybody was and is looking for right now.
And what is the biggest difference between 3 years ago and right now?
Wow. So 3 years ago, I thought it would be cool if we could have 10 locations. I kind of had mapped out in my head where those 10 would be, and they'd all be in Charleston County, and I would be able to sort of check on all of them because there would be 10 of them. That's not too many. And we've grown so much in 3 years that there are probably 40 boxes that I've never laid eyes on, and that are, you know, far flung from where I am on James Island. Like I don't travel up to those areas very often. So I hope to see all of them in person one day. But the project has grown, and we've had support from just across the board, like every sort of religious background and community organizations and kids and older people. And we really have had so much support that I'm so grateful for, because I thought, this might be a good idea, this might work. But I still, 3 years later, every time I drive by one and I see that there's food in there, I'm kind of in my head like still a little bit surprised that it's working.
It's working. That is so amazing. And obviously, you talked earlier about the people who are, most people sometimes are coming and getting, donations and bringing donations. What's that average right now in your mind?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because it's anonymous, it's hard for us to have data. I will say that I used to get a lot more messages and emails and private things through the social media account saying, hey, the box over here is empty. And that used to happen all the time. And it really felt like there was a shift in the latter part of last year, where I'm sure that there still are boxes that are empty a lot, but I'm not receiving that many notifications, because I think that even if they're empty this week, then they're full again next week. So I think that it really has caught on. And I also think that people in the neighborhoods and the areas where the boxes are located are keeping an eye out on them and are telling each other, and not so much telling, reporting back to me or to the project itself, but they're telling, the moms group on Daniel Island I talked to one of them earlier this week, and she said, yeah, I see all the time posts in our mom's Facebook page saying like, hey, did anybody go check on the blessing box? Or, hey, there's bugs in the blessing box. Can somebody go clean it up? Things like that. And I think that on that micro level, communities around the Low Country have stepped up, and they're the reason why this is working.
And let me go back to the question I asked you earlier. I know the blessing box obviously is a small scale approach to the bigger issue of food insecurity. What's that next big issue for food insecurity?
So there are many areas of Charleston that are food deserts, and that's the next level. Jolene Jenkins, that runs Fresh Future Farm, is a hero of mine. I think she's incredible. I think the work that she and the other folks with the farm are doing they're amazing. And I think that that's the next level, is tackling the food desert issue, making sure that people have access to a grocery store in their community, which a lot of folks do not. There's not the same level of food available at, say, a corner store as a grocery store. And I think that that's a big inequality that we see in all communities, not just Charleston. That's a national problem, but I think that needs to be addressed in a much more systematic and much more organized manner than the Blessing Box Project would be able to ever do, because we're very grassroots.
Yeah.
We're anonymous. We're not able to address things like that. So my hope also is to use our platform that we have to spread the information and the messages and the outreach efforts that other groups are doing, specifically Fresh Future Farm, but others like them as well. Destiny Community Cafe is another favorite of ours. Miss Regina and her team, they are the only pay-as-you-can cafe that I'm aware of in the Charleston area. And so they're in North Charleston. They will feed anybody who comes through the door, whether you can pay or not, and then you can also buy a meal and pay it forward. And I love that, and I think they're incredible. So my hope is that with the following that we've built over these 3 years, that we can support the organizations that are doing the bigger work than what we're doing.
And if somebody wants to send in a donation for the food and whatnot, how should they go about that?
Yeah, so we have Instagram and Facebook and a website. They all would link to a donation page. We also have an Amazon wish list, which we have one for the book drive that I was talking about earlier. We also have one for food. Everything that is purchased from our Amazon wish list ships directly to the Blessing Box on Mulberry Street in West Ashley at the Pink House. And so if you're looking to donate and not leave your house, that's the way.
That's the way. And I know obviously there are at least 150 blessing boxes out there. Which blessing box best describes the Charleston blessing box in your mind?
Oh, that's tough. It's hard to have a favorite, right? So some of the ones that I am most proud of are the ones that kids were involved in building, because I think they're so important to teach our young people to give back and to have empathy and to take care of their community members. So I love the one that's at Laundry Matters. That one was built by kids that were part of the Youth Volunteer Corps, which is done through the city, through the mayor's office. So I love that one. And that one is inside the laundromat. And we've also been able to partner with them several times for free laundry events and things. So that is definitely one of my favorites. I love them all, but I really like that one.
That's amazing. Well, Katie Dalheim, thank you so much for your time. And again, welcome back to Quintin's Close Ups.
Thank you so much, Quintin.
You're very welcome.